The Philadelphia Eagles have the most talented secondary in the entire NFL in 2026, my friend, and a quiet shift within that group could end up being the most important adjustment of the entire defensive offseason. One of the most versatile players on the whole roster, a Super Bowl LIX champion as a rookie, recently appeared on a podcast alongside a former teammate, and the Eagles' own defensive coordinator used that moment to drop a hint that could completely redefine how this player gets used in 2026. It was not an accidental statement. It was a line loaded with intention, the kind only a coach with Vic Fangio's experience knows how to drop at exactly the right moment. What exactly did he say? What does it actually mean? And why does this shift make so much sense for this specific moment in this defense's development? I am going to walk you through exactly what Vic Fangio said about Cooper DeJean's future, and why this seemingly small hint could point to one of the most important decisions on the entire Eagles defense in 2026. But first, if you are a die-hard Eagles fan, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because this is exactly the kind of tactical detail only people who follow the team closely catch before it turns into a national headline. The statement happened on the very podcast Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship co-host together. Yes, the same Reed Blankenship we discussed in detail recently after his departure to the Houston Texans, who remains connected to the Eagles even after leaving the roster. Fangio, appearing as a guest, said he likes where the team is, especially on defense. Fangio is almost certainly talking about outside cornerback specifically, not the slot, where DeJean remains one of the best in the entire league. The real hint behind that statement is that Fangio wants to use DeJean more frequently at safety, a shift that makes complete sense when you look at the rest of the roster. To understand why this shift makes so much sense, you need to remember the safety depth situation we already discussed extensively in previous videos on this channel. Reed Blankenship left for the Texans in free agency. Drew Mukuba, the expected starter next to the second safety, is still coming back from the ankle fracture that ended his rookie season early in 2025. And even with high expectations, there is still some real uncertainty about the solidity of that position beyond him. The competition between Marcus Epps and Michael Carter for the second starting spot continues, but neither one carries the individual talent level DeJean brings. Moving DeJean into more safety responsibilities fills exactly that gap, while keeping one of the most dynamic players on the entire defense on the field, across multiple alignments at the same time. There is also a historical thread worth pulling on here, because this is not the first time Fangio has leaned on a single defensive back as the flexible centerpiece of his scheme. Throughout his career, with the Chicago Bears, the Denver Broncos, and now the Eagles, Fangio has repeatedly built his defense around versatile safeties who can rotate late, fit the run from depth, and cover ground in multiple zones without tipping the coverage before the snap. In Denver, that role belonged to Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson, two defensive backs Fangio moved constantly between deep safety, box safety, and late rotating disguise looks to keep quarterbacks guessing after the snap. Simmons earned back-to-back Pro Bowl selections under Fangio precisely because of that flexibility. DeJean, with arguably even more positional range than either of those two ever had, fits that exact archetype, and Fangio, using him at safety, more often is less an experiment and more a return to a coaching pattern that has defined his career for over a decade. The numbers confirm that this shift would be less a complete reinvention and more a return to a pattern that already existed. Adding up the 2024 and 2025 seasons, DeJean played 1,207 snaps in the slot, 233 at outside cornerback, 178 at box safety, just 2 at deep safety, and 43 on the line of scrimmage. He already spent roughly a third of his defensive snaps last year playing outside cornerback, and that is exactly the slice Fangio appears to want to reduce, redirecting that playing time toward more work at safety. This is not a dramatic change to DeJean's identity as a player. It is a normalization of a profile that already existed back in his college days. And it is precisely in DeJean's college background where you find the root of all this versatility. He grew up in Odebolt, Iowa, a farming town of roughly 920 people, and graduated from OABCIG, a consolidated school serving 5 small rural communities. DeJean was a 4-sport phenomenon in high school, playing football, basketball, baseball, and running track, racking up 1,832 career basketball points, trailing only NFL tight end TJ Hawkinson on the state's all-time scoring list, and finishing ahead of names like NBA player Harrison Barnes. Even with that multi-sport resume and 4-star recruit status, DeJean received limited scholarship offers and chose to play defense at Iowa over accepting an offer to play quarterback at South Dakota State. In college, he played cornerback, a hybrid position called cash between linebacker and safety, and even safety in the preseason, earning unanimous All-American honors in 2023 and winning the Big Ten's top defensive back award. Head coach Kirk Ferentz himself said back in 2022 that there was practically no position on the perimeter DeJean could not play, and that he could probably even be an NFL-caliber running back or wide receiver if needed. That versatility is not just a historical curiosity. It is exactly why the Eagles decided to move up 10 spots in the 2024 draft to secure DeJean with the 40th overall pick, one day after already selecting Quinyon Mitchell in the first round. And the on-field response came immediately. DeJean was named the best cornerback in the league by Pro Football Focus with an 86.3 grade as early as his rookie season, and delivered the most iconic moment of his career so far by intercepting Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl LIX, returning the play for a 38-yard touchdown, the first interception by an Eagles player in Super Bowl history, scored, coincidentally, on DeJean's own 22nd birthday. A recent athletic analysis, which we already mentioned in a previous video, placed DeJean among the 10 most versatile players in the entire NFL, recognition that reinforces exactly the kind of Swiss Army knife role Fangio seems determined to use to its fullest extent. There is also a roster-building angle that makes this the right moment for the shift specifically. With Riq Woolen now in the fold at outside cornerback alongside Quinyon Mitchell, the Eagles finally have a genuine 1-2 punch on the perimeter that does not require DeJean to log outside reps out of necessity. That depth at cornerback is what frees Fangio to redeploy DeJean's snaps toward the position of greater structural need. It is the kind of roster alignment that rarely happens by accident. A coordinator does not shift his most versatile piece toward a new role unless the pieces around that player already support the move. Here is the bottom line. This is not a change that means abandoning the slot, where DeJean remains dominant. It means the Eagles can now alternate his usage depending on the defensive package, the opponent, and the game situation. In base defense, DeJean likely drops back to safety. In nickel and dime packages, he moves back up to the slot, where he is already one of the best in the world at the job. That kind of tactical flexibility is rare in any NFL defense, and Fangio is clearly determined to extract every bit of value from it. The team already has its cornerback trio settled with Quinyon Mitchell, Riq Woolen, and DeJean himself when needed on the perimeter, which means the roster's real structural need sits at safety, and DeJean is the internal answer that keeps the Eagles from having to go to the market for another body at that position. With Vic Fangio dropping this hint during an unassuming podcast appearance, with safety depth still generating real debate among the fan base, and with DeJean's versatility dating all the way back to his Iowa days pointing exactly toward this kind of hybrid usage, the question left for you, Eagles fan, is direct. Do you believe moving Cooper DeJean into more safety responsibilities is going to raise this defense's ceiling even higher in 2026? Or should he stay primarily concentrated in the slot, where he is already unquestionably one of the best in the league? Drop your opinion in the comments. Do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I will be back later to keep you updated with the latest Eagles news.